Coming up on this episode, I talk about losing sight of yourself, how a lot of us get so caught up in life that we actually lose sense of who we are and what we enjoy. And then towards the end, I go on a massive tangent about going out for a meal with little one. But let's get into it. What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Perspective Chasers podcast, and I'm your host, John. On this episode, I want to talk about losing sight of yourself. Now, this is something that I've gone through a couple of times in life, and I think a lot of people do. I've got a thing at the minute of asking people, what's your idea of a perfect day? And it stuns most people, and it made me realize that most of us live doing what we need to do to get through, not what we want to do. So anytime somebody poses that question of what would you like to do or what do you want to do, we're like a deer in the headlights, because it's so rare that we have to think about what we want ourselves, and we more think about what we have to do. I mean, I know I do. So then when I do get to the time where it's like, I get to be John, what does that mean? Who is John when he ain't got any responsibilities and everything else? And this actually happened to me the other day for a rare opportunity. I had a couple of hours just completely spare where I had nothing to do. And I was like a deer in headlights. And I started to do what I wanted to do, started to relax a little bit, and ended up falling asleep. And woke up, and that was basically my downtime gone. But it goes to show that, when you don't think about yourself for so long in the terms of what you want, what you need, what you enjoy, I couldn't even tell you my favorite meal. I could tell you my go-tos, but to genuinely think about something that I'm gonna sit down and enjoy, and I'm gonna be yeah, this is a great meal. I don't do it. I just eat for the sake of eating for the most part. And there's loads of reasons for that. But it's something that's rolled out through life time and time again, where it's you just don't think about it. Some areas in life, it's okay. I always wear simple clothing, black t-shirts, no branding, da-da-da-da-da. Because then I don't have to think. Everything goes together and it's just minimal effort. That's fine. At least for me anyway. I don't want to be standing out in bright colours and blah, 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 blah. But when you do that to your happiness, you do that to your hobbies, you do that to your interests, or whatever aspect of life it is, you tend to get a little bit stale. Like I say, I don't enjoy going clothes shopping, I don't enjoy following fashion or whatever else. So not putting energy into those things, it's no bother to me. It just saves me time and effort. But when it comes to a good meal is something I can appreciate. But it's been so long since I've actually had that good meal, especially one that I haven't made myself. Because that's another thing, is when you start doing things for yourself and you realise that the effort and the quality that you put into them, a lot of the times is higher than what somebody else will put into them. So then when you're given something from somebody else, it's subpar. So you're well, why am I spending effort or energy or money on this when I could do better myself? So then you get kind of stuck in this rut of well, it's just easier to do it myself, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But then all of the time you're exhausted, so then you get complacent, and then you end up neglecting yourself. Before you know it, you've forgotten about what you enjoy. I swear, sometimes in my life, I've heard Baby Shark so many times that I forget what other music is. But then there's times where I'll actually get into it and I'll sing along and I'll enjoy it. But too much of anything is a bad thing. So too much of neglecting yourself and putting yourself on the back burner, it's going to be a negative. It's going to have detrimental effects to yourself. At least, again, I know it does me. So the other day, I actually went out with my daughter for a Father's Day meal, and it was something that I was building up to be a lot more difficult than I thought. Like, she's only young, so it's not as plain sailing as go out for a daddy-daughter meal and everything's easy. Like, there's so many ways that it could just become hassle or a lot of effort or just a lot of ways for it to be more difficult than it needs to be and subsequently take the enjoyment out of it. Long story short, I ended up going and we had a great time. It went as smooth as could be. None of the bad things that I thought was going to happen. Like little things like that just end up having a long-term knock-on or whatever else. Like if I need to go toilet and she she's there, or I need to change her and then you got changing facilities and this, that and everything. Like there's so many things that in your mind you put yourself off. And it's just like, well, it's easier not to go. And the truth is, it would have been easier not to go. But if I didn't put in that effort, I wouldn't have had that nice evening with my daughter. And was it the best food of my life? No. But was it refreshing to have a meal that wasn't cooked by me? Yeah. Like, there are little things in it that you can enjoy it. And that's just one example of where I kind of talk myself out of certain things which subsequently could be enjoyable. But you focus on all of the kind of negative connotations to it, how everything could go wrong. But the truth is, that's only one potential possibility. And even then, you find a way to work around it. Like, so the big thing with, like, going around with my daughter or whatever else is not everywhere has changing facilities that are available to men or are just adequate in any sense. So a lot of the time I'm just like, oh, it's going to be a lot of hassle. It's easier if I'm familiar with the place and rah, 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 rah. But it's been so long since I've been out for a nice meal and that. And last time I went out for a nice meal, or previously when I went out for last month, I wasn't looking for changing facilities. So it's nothing, it's something that I was kind of never aware of. So I always assume the worst in that sense. But it weren't that bad. And there were none of the negative fallouts happened, and I felt so much better for actually pushing through. And like I say, that's just one little example of something that, quite frankly, I've put off many times, of just going out, me and her, for a meal, because sometimes she'll eat slow, or she don't want to eat what's in front of her, or whatever, like, just kid problems, you know, as it is. But when you're there, you're like, I just want to enjoy a meal for myself, but then you've got a little person that's completely in your care, and you've got to make sure they're eating, and then your food goes cold, so you're not necessarily enjoying your meal as much as you could have been. And you got all of these different kind of snowball effects that play out in your head, or at least I do, that end up just half the time not playing out. But yet they're the reason so many times that we talk ourselves out of things. That, like I say, that's just one example from life in the last couple of days. Like, how many times do you talk yourself out of applying for a job, or approaching a certain person and asking them out on a date, or just approaching a person and making a friend? Whatever it is, like, we always think of all of the negative connotations, all of the things that can go bad. And it is a protection mechanism. Like, nobody wants to get hurt, nobody wants to be vulnerable. Everybody wants to be as safe as possible for as much of the time as they can be. But reality is, that's not going to happen. Like, every so often you've got to take a risk. That's just how it is. That's life, unfortunately. Like, I don't think anybody lives a risk-free life. I've said it before and I'll say it time and time again. You could wake up in the morning, jump in the shower, slip, lights out. So what's the point in overthinking the rest of life and depriving yourself of these moments? Moments that you're going to enjoy, moments that you're going to remember, moments that you're going to cherish, simply because you think that they can go bad, or you think that you're not worth it, or it's going to be too much effort and da 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 da. Like, there's many reasons we talk ourselves out of things and deprive ourselves of things, but it doesn't have to be that way. And sometimes all you need is a little reminder. Like, start small. You don't have to go gun-ho. Like, you control what you expose yourself to in that sense. Like I said, I didn't go to a fine dining restaurant with my daughter and try and have this, that, and everything else. And like, I was realistic with where we went and realistic in, and just enjoyed it for the most part. And like, that's the biggest thing, is like when we've got all of this kind of anxiety around life and we haven't kind of checked in ourselves in so long, we tend to need so much kind of TLC in that sense. That it's like, well, we'll tend into that, or we'll give into that urge, scratch the itch. But sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But inevitably, it's going to alleviate some of that pressure from yourself. Like I say, it wasn't the greatest meal of my life, but it was a nice day out with my daughter, and it allowed me to relax for the afternoon. And it took some of that pressure off. Was it a massive extravagant evening that I may have wanted or would have enjoyed? No. But does it mean it wasn't, that doesn't mean it wasn't an evening that I enjoyed, and it wasn't an evening that I'm going to cherish. Like, there's so many instances in life that we kind of, we overlook them, or just, what's the word? Mine's gone blank, please don't lose it. We just kind of misread how things are going to play out, or, damn it. No, I'll leave it. But when you're trying to like look after yourself, and all of us have to look after ourselves, you've got to remember these little things, like those little parts of you that when you put in the effort, you are going to appreciate down the line. So it's not a case of they could scream, or changing facilities, or food could go everywhere, or they could get messy, or whatever, but problems you end up thinking up in your head, whatever it is, parking, this, that, blah, 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 blah. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be things that can go wrong, no matter what you do. But that's never a reason not to do them. So don't talk yourself out of enjoying life a bit. Like, it's easy to take life too seriously. It's easy to take yourself too seriously. It's easy to get caught up in that cycle of what you need to do. But inevitably, you need to take care of yourself. You need to check in on you. You need to do something that you enjoy, and something that nurtures your soul every once in a while. Otherwise, why are you here? Why are you living if it's not to enjoy the existence that you have? Everybody is out there having their own existence. It is everybody's place to enjoy their own existence. So do yourself a service and pay attention to yourself and what it is you enjoy. Because really and truly, you're the only one that's ever going to know what's going to make you happy. So unless you take the time to listen for it, unless you take the time to have that conversation with yourself, you're never going to know what you're missing out on. You're never going to know the solution to your problem, because you haven't even heard the problem in the first place. So listen to yourself for a change. Listen to what it is that's going to make you happy, and why you want to do whatever it is you want to do in life. Because it's so easy to get caught up in just doing, and eventually you become a mindless drone. And I don't think anybody wants to be a mindless drone. I don't think anybody's here to be a mindless drone. We're all sentient, conscious beings roaming around this planet. Like, don't give up your autonomy. Don't be a mindless drone. Put in some effort in life and enjoy it. See what you can accomplish in life. See what life has to offer for you, because I guarantee you, there is far more out there than you think. There is far more ways that life plays out than you are yet to witness. The world is a big old place full of life in varying degrees, cultures in varying degrees, people in varying degrees, animals, plants, fish, whatever you want to look at. It comes in many shapes, forms, sizes, and variations in life. So go out and enjoy it. It is your life to enjoy, so go out and enjoy it. After all, why else are you here? I think I'll wrap this episode up there. The seed for this episode helps if you remember the reason you you started the episode in the first place, but it's literally escaped me again. Oh, the joys of a wandering mind. But no, the seed for this episode is going to be don't be so hard on yourself. You're just out there trying to make it in life like everybody else. So if you're putting in the effort and you're putting in the work, give it the time it needs and appreciate yourself for putting in the work. Because like I say, nobody's going to do the work for you. So pat yourself on the back once in a while, go out and enjoy yourself once in a while, and remember what it is you enjoy. Because that's part of what makes you you. All the best, and I'll catch you on the next one.